I'll pass this around. This is such a good oil. So we're going to do Helichrysum essential oil. Again, most of the topical uses would be the same, whether we're talking about diluting the essential oil or whether we are talking about just putting the herb on the body as a poultice, right? These are just going to be all the topical uses that would be, you don't have to have Helichrysum essential oil. You could just tincture the flowers or you could poultice it. I mean, any bath of this, right? So this is going to be kind of all the topical. Some of it's just the aromatherapy smell too. So the affinity of Helichrysum is going to be for the liver and heart. Its energy is definitely warm, uplifting, and dispersing, associated with the sun by the name Heli, right? Been associated with the sun for a long time. Allegedly, the best Helichrysum grows on the island of Corsica, but I don't know. I haven't tried all of them from around the world, but the Corsican one is pretty special. But I don't know honestly which one is the best. I haven't tried like hundreds and hundreds of sources. Um, so the main way we're going to use this is kind of like essential oil yarrow. Think of it that way, or calendula. So topically, this is why we want to cover this oil because it's probably the main trauma essential oil. I mean, we talked about rose for different skin trauma. We talked about frankincense and myrrh for a lot of joint and tissue trauma. So this is the last one we really need to know is Helichrysum would be used for almost any kind of topical trauma. Here we're talking about bruises, muscle strains, fibromyalgia, which wouldn't necessarily be trauma, but fibromyalgia, tendonitis, tendon damage, ligament damage, any kind of soft tissue, cartilage damage, surgeries, people that need to have surgery on joints or tendons, carpal tunnel syndrome, frozen shoulder, arthritis in any kind of joint. Also very good for the trauma that and bruising that comes along with broken bones. We also are going to use this for any kind of cuts, scrapes, scar tissue, scarring. Again, we would not put this on an open wound, or we wouldn't put it on a wound that has active stitches in it. But as soon as the stitches are out, we can use this topically. So this would be C-section scars, old scars, any kind of cuts or sores. Like frankincense, this is also very good for any kind of pressure ulcers, skin ulcerations, pus-bearing sores on the skin. Um, One of the great skin healers together with rose. We said that, rose and also Helichrysum are very good for psoriasis, eczema, kind of dermatitis, any kind of skin inflammation that's chronic. Also very good for acne and acne cyst or cystic acne. Very, very helpful for. Anytime a scar or wound is healing slow, we're going to consider this. Now, this is, can we use other herbs that we can probably just grow ourselves or make ourselves? Because this does not grow here. Totally, right? We could use calendula in its place or yarrow for some of the properties or St. John's wort, but this is a pretty powerful essential oil. There's quite a bit of research on it in Europe too for wound healing. It's also a very liver-directed herb, which remember the liver controls your tendons and ligaments, a lot of your muscles. So, but this is a good herb to do like a castor oil pack with a little helichrysum, a couple drops in it, right? To kind of do castor oil packs over your liver. If you've had a lot of abdominal surgeries because of maybe hysterectomy or C-section or herniations, this is a great abdominal massage oil to add. So the essential oil is semi-precious, meaning it's kind of expensive. If you want to use it for aromatherapy, there it is maybe worth buying more exquisite artisanal varieties. If you're going to use it for healing the skin, just I think any good brand is fine. Like we're passing the frontier around, which to me doesn't smell as divine as some that I've smelled before, but I use it topically with patients all the time. It works really good. So, okay. Um, think of it kind of like yarrow. Also has an effect on any kind of ovarian, uterine cramp or pain topically. So this would be like, again, a great abdominal massage oil. Some aromatherapists feel that it can help break down fibroids and cysts, like ovarian cysts, uterine fibroids.
Now brand is okay, essential oil brand.
I think now is okay for just topical use. If you're going to really get into aromatherapy and the art of it, you probably want a more exquisite brand, which you're going to pay like probably 2 or 3 times for. Way cheaper than rose and frankincense, but still kind of pricey. Psychologically, as far as aromatherapy, I like to think of it again as a liver herb. So it's used a lot for anxiety, inner tension, stress, also depression, because it has a more uplifting property, but it is calming to the nerves. I don't find it like super calming to the nerves. How it's really stands out in aromatherapy is this is the oil together with something like rose or frankincense we would do for emotional trauma, like PTSD or some kind of severe trauma. That makes sense? So it's physically healing to trauma, but also emotionally. And being that it's the liver herb, one of its main historical uses is for when people are angry or frustrated. So if you need to diffuse some like anger or big emotions in your home, this is we talked about this is one of the best applications of aromatherapy is like kind of secretly treating everybody around you, right? Like at work or at home or in the car or anything, right? People don't know they're kind of being treated. um, Historically also used inhaled for like coughing and respiratory infections. I don't know how good for it is for that. I've never used it for that. Like yarrow, like I said, this plant looks very similar to yarrow in a lot of its traits. Also historically used for like infections and fevers as an aromatherapy. I've never used it that way, but I think things like mint and some of the things we've talked about, eucalyptus, are probably more powerful there for the price. I mean, those are so cheap to use. So I would use this really more topically for any kind of trauma, scar tissue. Oh, also together with rose, this is one of the great skin cancer remedies. So when people have history of skin cancer, when people are going to the dermatologist to get cut on all the time, every 3 months they're getting another little piece of their face cut out. Um, when you start using rose and helichrysum topically on those spots. And I always tell people that have that, any spot that comes up, even before you go back to the dermatologist, just start treating it. And I just can't tell you how many people that between taking beta carotene internally and topically doing things like rose or helichrysum and frankincense on pre-skin cancer spots just don't, I know people that were getting their face cut on every 3 months, like just forever. Like this every time they went, they would cut out something. So
You apply it twice a day, 3 times a day?
apply it twice a day. And typically for that, personally with clients, I don't even dilute it much because you're just going to put it on a single, like just take a Q-tip and just put it right on the spot. Always safer to dilute it some, but you don't want to dilute it too much. So topical for skin cancer, and then just also sunburns, like we would use St. John's wort or something. But the smell of it is pleasant, right? It smells kind of earthy, little musky, little musty, but kind of earthy. But yeah, I find it more uplifting than calming personally. Does anybody feel really calmed out from it?
Pretty calm.
Zoned out? So this is just a good herb essential oil to know that I wanted to make sure we covered. Probably one of the things you'll get called on to ask the most is, what do you do for this bruise, broken bone, ache, pain that I'm having, scar tissue? I mean, who doesn't want their skin to look better? So, right? We all want it. No matter how spiritual people are, we all want to look a little bit younger, right? So just accept that. I personally feel it's probably also really good for age spots topically on the skin. Rose is really helpful for that, though. So cheaper than rose and frankincense, but not by that much, but somewhat in the middle for cost. Questions on it or questions online? I have smelt some that's really just amazing smelling. You can get a hydrosol of it too. Helichrysum hydrosol is used like rose water, pretty much all the same uses as rose water, topically on the face or skin.
Can you pass the flowers around?
Yeah, I'll pass the flowers around. I don't think they're very aromatic in that state. Do they? Maybe they do. I don't know. Smell them. Okay. Questions? Any online questions on Helichrysum? Okay. It's kind of a simpler, more straightforward oil. Now, in herbal medicine, this herb is used in European herbal medicine all the time still. Just kind of same uses. You can take it internally as a tincture or tea. I don't know of anybody that makes capsule of it, but also topically it shows up as a bath, a compress, a foot bath, a liniment, however you want to really take it or give it to people. So, okay. All right. Last questions on Helichrysum. Okay. Then let's pause it for us. If you're done recording now, let's wait till we start recording. Where are we going to go now? Did we finish Qigong? Did we finish primordial?